sorry for the video quality, but I'm not really all that big, so I figured it wouldn't be important. So, really, what I wanted to research, since this is going to be the title of the video, is this party of Cameroon, since, they don't really exist right now. I mean, they do. 3 out of 180 seats in the National Assembly. Always one thing to remember with Wikipedia. Anyone can edit it, and as it says here, it's got a lot of intricate detail. It's only... Dang it, shouldn't have done this now. No, if I smooth it, it's going to come back later. Yeah, it's going to be very detailed, but I don't really see much videos talking about, well, Cameroon in general. I mean, you can search up videos of... One I found, which I thought was pretty interesting, was 5 things I like and dislike about Cameroon, or 10 things I like and dislike about Cameroon. The guy who's in there sums up the most basic parts of Cameroon that have problems. And as someone who hasn't really been there in actual years, and when I did go there I was a child, it was good enough as an introduction, but I don't really see any videos going in depth, and I myself cannot really talk about what's going on there in depth because, I don't live there. So they're a left-wing political party in Cameroon, or were, founded in 1947. I'll link this down in the description because I'm going to be skim reading this. 12 men, and meeting was held. I'm going to skim read through the entire article and see what points I think are maybe interesting. For as much reading as I do, I am not a great summarizer, or am I a good skim reader, I guess. So, founded in 1947, 1948, April 11th, a provisional bureau was established. That guy elected. I don't want to waffle too long, that's the problem with this. They weren't legally registered. So, on April 13th, UPC issued its first public declaration of the intent to appeal to the Cameroonians. I'm guessing maybe because, I don't know, their rights weren't being listened to, but, I can't make that assumption. I'm new to the subject. Another meeting was held. At this time, the residents of Guillaume, Bagdad, and Douala, the statutes in the appeal to the Cameroonians were revised. A new provincial bureau was constituted, made up of General Secretary Etienne Libé, Joint General Secretary Léonard Bouli, Joint Secretary Guillaume Bagdad, General Treasurer Emmanuel Yap, Joint Treasurer Jacques Biboum. Members Screw it, I can't do any names. This is... wow. On May 14th, the revised statutes were handed over to the mayor's office in Douala. On June 9th, the authorities were allowed the registration of UPC following pressure from the African Democratic Rally, RDA, and the French Communist Party, PFC. On June 17th, the Provisional Bureau decided the UPC would call itself the Cameroonian section of RDA, and that the first public function of UPC would be held on the 22nd of June in Douala. The meeting of 22nd of June was held in the Salle des Fêtes d'Aqua and was attended by around 500 people. Libé and Bouli addressed the function participants. Oh, man, this is a lot. I'm honestly just... Okay, this is way a lot. I'm not even grasping this information as I read it because it's too fast. In November, Ruben Nyobi took charge of the organization's joint site. Okay, it's very in detail, so I'm going to skip to the next paragraph that seems to move this plot point a lot, because what I've heard, I realize I'm spoiling it, is that the reason that there's only 3 of them out, out of the 180 seats is because there were, a lot of them were killed off, and that's really what I wanted to read about, because I don't really hear that much about it, and I just thought it'd be interesting. This is probably the worst video, but if other people start making videos about it, that'd also be cool, because I don't think my video format right now is going to be great. I should stop waffling. I'm going to stop waffling. Okay, so basically all it talks about in the paragraph above the one right now is how one of them was elected general, but before that there had been another guy who was nominated to lead the party, I guess, but declined on personal grounds. here it's saying how they're not Communist Party, even though one of a historian, Thomas Dildombe, I'm guessing he's one of the members, is friendly with the PCF, and UPC activists should identify themselves as individuals with communist sympathies, but the UPC as a national movement was not. So that's an important thing to remember, I guess. They're not on the far left, they are left wing, I think, just. I don't know how heavily they fall in between centre and far left, but, they're not communism. Growth. Let me just close this tab because that's big. Growth. Oh, no. How big is this? Okay. I didn't really understand the first top paragraph, I will be honest. But they wanted... The party published papers Le Voix du Cameroun, The Voice of Cameroon, Lumière, Light, Étoile, Stars, and Vérité, Truth. So I guess they are trying to push the truth. I still don't know much about this and what truth they're posting because, again, problems in Cameroon, I need to really read up on that before I can talk with any kind of authority about it. After trying a parliamentary vote in 1952 without much success, the UPC turned to the United Nations, who had guardianship of Cameroon, to demand independence and reunification. Something tells me this has to do with... You can search up on BBC Africa, Ambazonia, or Anglophones in Cameroon. They have one or two videos talking about some of this village in the Anglophone speaking part of Cameroon. Like, if you look at Cameroon, it has this little bump on the edge. I get a Google pic. Actually, I'm going to get it up. That's the Anglophone part of Cameroon. I don't know why it says Southern Cameroon. That's the wrong direction. And you can see just from looking at this map that they are very much the minority here. And they've, from the looks of it, I don't know if they're declaring independence from Cameroon as a whole. I'm not sure exactly how well that would work since they're such a small country in Africa as it is. Most of them, well, Nigeria, Ghana, Cameroon, they seem to be doing good for themselves. Cameroon does, if I remember correctly, that's I think that's the estimated one for GDP of Cameroon right now in 2019, and to see how that pairs up to, I guess, an HIC, since I don't know if it counts as a newly emerging economy or still a lower income economy, because I know Nigeria counts as a newly emerging economy because of, I guess, how much the North is developing right now. But let me actually check UK's GDP. That's probably a better one. That is a GDP of 553,251 million American dollars. It's pretty high. And I guess we are a HIC, and we're not really expecting to see what Cameroon's GDP is. Let me try GNI. That might be a better one. So I'm looking at the World Bank, which is data.worldbank.org. I'm guessing you just normally search countries in there. And it's saying in 2016 they had a gross national income of 3,490,000 US dollars, because that's what we usually measure this in. For comparison, let me look at Nigeria, I guess. That'd probably be a better one to go against because they're literally right next to each other. So, still using World Bank, you use it by typing in GNI or whatever you want to find out about a current country, I guess, and the country you want to find out stuff about. So, 384, dang it, Eunice, 384 billion in 2018. So I guess that isn't really a great estimate since Nigeria has, that I'm aware of, more Bollywood films, Nollywood films. They've got a huge tertiary sector, mostly like telecommunications, and I don't know, they're just more advanced, I guess, despite whatever is going on that's, keeping the. Because if we look at the human. The. No, what does the decent HDI stand for again? I remember it's like. 1 second. Okay, so I couldn't exactly find what I was looking for, but that specific graph that kind of looks for health, wealth, quality of life in general. Because GNI is mostly focused on looking at money, but not the rest of it. But what I wanted to try and prove was the state of Cameroon, really, because they've got dirt roads, even though I'm pretty sure they make enough. The government gets enough money from taxes, maybe, to pay for better infrastructure. You don't really hear much about them in the acting scene, since I don't even know if they've got how much of tertiary sector and secondary sector. That's something I want to revisit for new videos, and I'm trying to limit this to not being too much time because I don't want this to get long and boring and drawn out. Didn't even finish the point I wanted to make, which isn't great entirely, but I guess I'll finish this in another video because I don't want this to be too long. But if anyone else wants to talk about oh shoot. If anyone wants to talk about any other problems with countries that aren't really doing well, I'll probably have to dig around more because this is most of what I've heard from my parents. So I can talk about this without referencing other articles all that much. But with other countries, I'd probably have to look up more. And I want to focus more on Cameroon though. But till next time, I guess, because yeah.